Boy, I loved the NBA of the early 90s. That's probably why I loved playing NBA Jam so much when I was a kid. But the truth is that the game really isn't that easy. And I used to lose all the time. You know, I'm not sure if I've actually gotten better over the years, but at least I've had more time to practice. I've also had some time to read what people who are much better at this game than I am have said about it. So let me give you a few tips here and there on how you can improve at NBA Jam and start beating the computer. So the first thing to keep in mind, of course, is the team that you choose. And no, not all teams are created equal. Ideally, you want a team like the Utah Jazz, where you have one big powerful guy and one fast guy who can shoot three-pointers and play defense. The Seattle Supersonics are pretty good as well, especially due to their three-point shooting abilities. So generally, in my personal experience, the most important attributes are speed, power, and three-point shooting. Power is really important because it makes it so you can knock other players to the floor. Speed is obvious, you want to be fast to catch up to them. And three-point shooting really does come in handy, especially when you're behind, but you don't want to overdo it. Now, the absolute most important thing to work on in this game is your defense. When I was a kid, I would always try for a steal as soon as the computer got the ball. That usually would put me behind the play and give them a wide open dunk or a chance at a three-point shot. What you want to do on defense is to back up at first and try to predict what the computer will do. Now that can be hard, of course, since the computer moves around erratically. However, if you can stay in front of the offensive players and get in their face, you can cause the shooting percentage to decrease, and you'll see the computer make some really bad decisions. And, you know, if all else fails, don't be afraid to goaltend. Sure, it's against the rules, but the important thing about goaltending is that it lets you get on fire. So if you don't know, once you make 3 baskets in a row, you're on fire. Being on fire means that you have unlimited turbo, that your shots are more likely to go in, and that you'll never be called for goaltending. You want to be on fire as much as possible to build up a big lead. And frankly, if you want to shoot three-pointers, the best strategy is to get on fire first and then shoot threes. That's because your three-point shooting percentage will go way up. Of course, to get on fire, you have to know how to take the ball down the court first. Some of the old NBA Jam experts recommend delaying for a second before taking it up the court. What you want to do is get your computer-controlled teammate to set a screen for you. Either that, or you want them to knock the other players flat on their backs. That gives you room for spectacular dunks like this. Now, if you screw it up, you can still run around a bit to try to get your teammate to throw you a screen. And if you find yourself guarded, don't be afraid to dish the ball off at the last second to avoid a block. Moves like that take time and some practice, sure. But, you know, in this day of emulation and arcade one-up machines, it's a lot easier to practice than it used to be. But there's one other thing that you really need to watch out for. That is the famous rubber banding effect. This is the built-in mechanism in the game where the computer makes sure that the score is close no matter what. It's in the console versions as well, though you can turn it off. And if you play NBA Jam Tournament Edition, you can turn it off with a code at the start of the game. You know, I think that some versions also have a dip switch in the arcade machine itself that controls the tournament mode setting, though I haven't really experimented enough to know that for sure. Anyway, it's not a huge deal if you know that this rubber banding effect is coming. The computer will automatically play great defense against you once there's only 30 seconds or so left in whatever quarter it is. If you know to expect this, you can actually take advantage of it. But, you know, even if you lose the ball, there are things you can do to make it rough for the computer to score. The best advice I have is to simply slow the game down if you have a lead late with little time left on the clock. Do whatever you can to delay bringing the ball up the court. Even if they get the ball, you want the computer to try to take a ridiculous full-court shot. Or even better, to try to dunk it with less than 3 seconds left on the clock. Anyway, those are a few really quick tips on how to get better. So focus on defense, make sure you control the clock, and do whatever you can to get on fire. The more that you practice the game, the easier this will become. And don't feel too frustrated if you lose a game or two or even 30. I mean, we've all been there.